Welcome everyone to our workshop on positive parenting strategies for early childhood. And we're very glad to have Ms. Vickie Wu as our speaker today. Ms. Wu is a California board-certified licensed clinical social worker. She has a master's in education in educational psychology from USC. She also has a Master of Sciences in social work from Cal State University of LA. She is currently a behavioral health manager at Herald Christian Health Center, and she has over 10 years of clinical practice experience in the mental health field. And let's welcome Ms. Wu.
Thank you. Thank you for Alice for the introduction. Well, I'm so happy, like everyone here, to participate in this workshop. So through this 1 hour presentation, I'm hoping that everyone can learn, at least 1 or 2 skill can apply and practice your, life with your kids. So that is the workshop overview. So that is some topic we're gonna cover by this workshops. And we also have some Q&A session at the end. So if you guys have any question online or, current in person, please feel free to ask and we can discuss. Okay, so let's move on our, workshop. So what is the positive parenting? So positive parenting develop a child motivation through appropriate, technique based on child characteristic and developmental stage. So not only for that, it also helps our children learn how to repress negative behavior with positive behavior, and then how to self-discipline and the cooperations. So positive parenting is not spoil child. It's really not really on the intimidation or humiliation to control their behavior. So through our positive parenting, it can help us to build out the emotion connection, intimacy, and trust between our parent and children. It also helps our children to build up their confidence. So when we knowing what is the positive parenting, first of all, we want to know about what is the temperament. So temperament is, is our natural behavioral patterns when we're born with. So it's the child natural behavior and the emotional response to the internal and external environment. Some people will ask me, what the difference between temperament and personality? So those two are somewhat similar, but not exactly the same. Temperament is the nature innate from birth. So personality will be ongoing change and modification throughout life. So that is the two difference. So temperament is the nature, and it may manifest differently between the different parenting approach. So let's move on, talk about what is the temperament. So there are 9 different temperament traits. The first of all is activity. So when the baby born, so you can observe their activity level. So active level is how physically active your child is throughout the day. Some children might need more time for play. Okay, let's move on. So some children with higher activity level are more active and they stay awake to a long period of time. But on the other hand, the children with a lower activity level, they're probably more quiet. They probably don't need a lot of activity during the day. So that is the activity level for different, the kids have a different tendency. So next one is the biological reasons. So it's referred to whether a child basic physiological functions, such as their sleeping, eating, and going to the toilet. They are very regular, and sometimes they might have the very fixed times. So, of course, the children with a higher regularity, so that's easy for the parent to taking care of. So when the children with very a lower regularity, so their schedule probably different. Of course, the parents are confused. Sometimes they need to need more time to know their, the schedule. So their schedule cannot easy to predict. The next one is the tendency approach or withdraw. So approach means that when children are exposed to new things, they will be more curious and they want to try and explore. So, or they will be more withdrawn. So for example, when children with a higher tendency to approach may be more eager to try new food, while children with a high tendency to withdraw, they might resist eating unfamiliar food. So I actually have the two kids and I have the boy and girl. So my girl is really like to, try the different food. So I will think like she might have more tendency to approach. So my boy is no, they when they smell something, not familiar, they don't like to eat and try. So that is the difference. So next one is adaptability. Adaptability means that the children can adapt quickly to new people and things, but they still need more time to adapt. For example, when children with lower adaptability, so they become more resistant when they first arrive at strangers' house. They might hiding behind their parents and refuse to go to the home and interact with others. So on the other hand, so with the children with a higher level of adjustment, they may be able to adapt a new situation in a shortened time and then play happier with people. So next one is the intensity of reaction. Reaction intensity refers to whether the children react strongly when receiving internal stimulation. So there is an example of this. Some children cry loudly when there's strong emotion response. So when they feel hungry. So someone may be not showing a lot of emotion when they're hungry. So the parent might need more attention to see their need. Sensitivity. Sensitivity is the amount of stimulation that causes a child to respond. For example, a higher sensitive baby might start crying as soon as their diaper get wet. But some of the kids maybe they will cry until they already poo. So that is the difference about this sensitivity. So mood. The mood is referred to whether your kids generate showing positive or negative emotions. Children with a positive mood often smile and appear happier, when children with a negative mood then appear upset. But I want to let you guys know the emotion expressed internally doesn't mean it necessarily represents the children's inner emotions. Even if the child does not appear happy, it does not mean that the kid doesn't feel happiness. The last one is distractibility. Distractibility measures whether a child can easily shift focus. Children with a poor attention span are easy to disturb by the internal things, and they will be easy to distract any sound and movement. For example, when the child first arrives in the strange environment, he might be scared but we can give the toy, and then he might divide their attention and forget his fear. And when the children are more attentive and tend to concentrate easily and less likely to be distracted and noise the environment. So that's about 9 different traits about temperament. So what is important between the temperament and the parenting? So understand your kids have a different temperament and we can raise them accordingly. It can be in fact and help us to reduce conflict. But I want you guys to pay attention. The parent don't need to completely go along with their children's temperament. But the parent can assess your children's temperament by observing your child's reaction to different things. And you can adapt their parenting methods appropriately. Okay, let's talk about the emotional and psychosocial development, between the age 0 to 6. The first stage we want to talk about for age 0 to 18 months. So this is from the infant and they grew up become the toddler. So during the infancy, the children gradually develop an attachment relationship with their caregiver. So if the baby physical and psychological need can be understood and handled by the caregiver, it will allow them to establish a sense of trust and secure attachment bonds. So if for the same thing, if the baby's need cannot be understood and cared for, it will cause them to have a sense of distrust toward the surrounding environment and even with the people. And they will often be so nervous, crying, and difficult to comfort. That's so the same thing. So what is the caregiver's task? So you probably need to provide a stable and regular living environment and routine. Okay, and then we can keenly observe and respond to their needs. So when the baby develops a strong sense of security, he or she will naturally become more and more independent. So from 0 to 18 months, I think the task for the parents or caregiver is to help our kids to build up the secure attachment bonds. So let's move on to psychological and the emotional development for age 18 months to 3 years. So that is from the toddler and in transition to the preschool age kids. So after the child establishes an attachment bond with the caregiver can help the child begin to build trusting relation with others. So children begin to learn autonomy and the control and develop their own ability at this stage. Of course, the children should be given opportunity and engage in activity that are consistent with their ability and allow them to experience trial and error. If the child is not given the opportunity to learn by doing, it's always being distracted or intimidated. It will cause the child to lack confidence, feel ashamed, or doubt themselves. Okay, let's go on the same thing. So from this, let's move on to ages 3 to 6 years. So at this stage, children begin to gradually start being self-centered and begin to able to cooperate with others and make friends. Because this age kids, they probably go into school, they're trying to want to hang out or interact with people. A child who successfully established a secure attachment bond with this caregiver will have more courage and explore and try a new thing. Because he knows that when he encounters the setbacks, his caregiver will be his support and protector. Children also begin to gradually become independent individuals, learn to be responsible for themselves, and develop the ability to control themselves. Great. So let's move on to positive parenting tips. So positive parenting tips. So that's some tips that we can learn and how to we nurturing and raise our kids. So from the age 0 to 18 months, the bond established between the baby and the caregiver at the stage will affect the children's interaction and sense of trust with other people when they grow up. So what we should do, so caregiver need to be keenly aware of the baby need and provide a stable and consistent care to establish a secure attachment relationship. So the first tip I want to share to everyone is to maintain the positive interaction and the emotional communication with your baby. So if the caregiver show positive emotion and expression when interaction with the baby will also feel happier and they'll be willing to interact. So what we can do, parents accompanying eye contact, facial expression change, and encouraging gesture and all language are very important for development. Provide a multiple sensory stimulation environment and the baby can handle and explore. But please remember, avoid the excessive or inappropriate stimulation. Okay, the second tip is like we get response to the baby need in a tiny and, it's a very consistent manner. First of all, we can observe our baby's behavior when they are in need. And the second, we can identify the baby's need. Then we emphasize with the baby's feeling, take care of their baby's need. So sometimes baby need more time to release their emotion. Use the gentle tone of the voice can help to soothe their baby and make them feel safe and support. Okay, the next tips is the elaboration of trust and secure attachment bonds and understand the emphasizing the baby's emotion. I think that is the first step to help your baby learn how to manage their emotions. So let's say when your baby have negative emotion, they probably very crying, they crying and cranky. So I think that our parents need to try to remain calm. And maybe we can use a gentle tone and manner to make the baby feel understood and emphasized. Not only the verbal message. I think a nonverbal message is very important. Eye contact, facial expression, our tone of voice, body contact, body language, and pace of movement. Okay, let's move on the age 18 months to 3 years. So that is some tips you can share to everyone. The first one, and plan and guide in advance. So parents can give advance notice and tell your children, your specific expectation. So by rehearsing possible situation beforehand, children can be more mentally prepared and learned. So we can guide the children how to solve the problems. So recognize your children's effort in the process. It takes a repeated practice and reminder for a child to learn. Give positive feedback for positive behavior. In this age, I thought, no, not the parent trying to build up some living skill for our kids. So they are trying to learn a lot of things. So just for, everyone's a reminder, it's for me as well. Just try and have, encourage our, children to try and make, positive, encouragement. Okay, so there are some example maybe you can share to everyone. So this is an example of providing specific behavior expectation in advance. So the scenario is that we have to go out. So when we go out, and we can tell, our kids, make sure you hold my hand. And when you see something interesting, please have you to tell me first before you go there. So they already address very specific behavior expectation. Instead of we tell them, be good when you go out. So the child might not understand what exactly be good. So please, expressing your specific behavior expectation, it really help your kids to build up the, some skill. The next one is to provide consistent routine, but allow you to have some autonomy. So be consistent with the rules. Don't be accommodating today, but another day impose a stress requirement tomorrow. But remember, be sympathetic to your child feeling. Try to be flexible and sometimes give them a detail and based on the situation and give your child some autonomy. And also I want to get you a reminder, sometimes we need to be like a parent to have be consistent, consistent. Not like mom say yes and they say no. Sometimes the kids will get confused. So, be consistent with the rule, including your partner. Okay, the next one is some example on the show to everyone. So example of consistent routine with some autonomy. So, that's the door in the family that you want your child to sit on the high chair to eat during the meal. But, he probably refused on eating that because she want to play with the toy in the living room. So what we should do, I think we can do it gentle and sympathetic to your child and tell her firmly. So we can say that. So I know you still want to play with toy, But you know what? We have the rule, we need to sit on a table and finish your dinner. So, but I think you can choose two toys and take them with you on the table. But maybe you can tell them after you eat, you can play with your two toys. So that is something we can do. Okay. So next tip is divert child attention appropriately, but do not lie or fight them. Children at this stage often keep changing their mind, and it probably sometimes is emotion, right? So parents can avoid the conflict and by use distraction. So that is just tips for distraction tips. For example, if your child suddenly doesn't want to go inside of the friend's house due to, you know, some feeling not good, or maybe he or she is feeling angry. So you can ask your kids, where is your bear? Where's your teddy bear? Can you look for you know, your bag, and you can bring them into home. So it might help to shift his focus and mood. But please remember, don't tell your, you know, child enlightenment. Tell them, oh, we probably go into the state for a short while. But in reality, you stay there for a few hours. Okay, let's move to the next tips. Listen carefully, communicate, and explain the reason. During this age, the kids, they probably already develop some cognitive, you know, cognitive functions. So they might understand what you talk about. So first way is to seek to understand and sympathetic with your kids and guide them a problem solving skill. So they build the trust and help your kids feel worthy of respect and being taken seriously. So there is the example I want to show you everyone. So when your child wants to buy something and you want to buy for them, instead of lying to him, oh, I don't have money, you know, we cannot buy. If we buy this, we don't have, you know, money to eat, you know, to buy food to eat. So maybe it's better to explain the real reason clear, such as, oh, we agreed to only buy one toy today or this week. It depends on what is the rule in your family. Okay, the next one will continue. So don't use threat and intimidation to control your child behavior. So that is the example of intimidation. Sometimes maybe the kids not perform the good behavior. So maybe you would tell them, you know, if you not be good, you will kick out the house, or I will not allow you anymore, or the police will come to arrest you. So that is an example of intimidation. Or sometimes when you're scared technique, you know, to make your children feel insecure. But, you know, it doesn't really help them to learn, you know, the new skill, the appropriate behavior. Let's move to the next one. The consistent routine provides a sense of security. Maintain daily routine can try to carry out every activity in the established order. Try to let your child know about change ahead of time. Try to avoid the frequent change. If you have to do this change, you know, remember let your child have some comfort item, such as their favorite toy, their blankets, or something stuffed animal to provide a sense of security when they feel anxious. Guide and reward positive behavior and acknowledge your child's effort in the process, and also find out the reason for negative behavior. On this day, you know, on this the stage of kids, it takes repeat trial and error for child to learn. So our task is helping them to guide our kids in advance. And when our kids eat behavior well, encourage and praise them. So always recognize children's effort in the process. So when our children performance is not as expected, try to remain calm and find out the reason why. And then you can address the issue with the kids. So this question, so I will ask you, is the physical punish or yelling helpful? So beating and the shouting can make children stop their, you know, negative behavior immediately. because they feel, afraid. They probably feel anxious. But, it cannot truly teach kids what they can do for the next time. So of course, many studies already point out that spanking or yelling can have a long-term negative effect on children. They result finding out they have poor emotion control, they have poor language skills, and they have higher aggression in peer interactions. They have a higher risk of anxiety and depressions. So understand and emphasize with our kids. Help our kids name their emotion and repeatedly guide our children know how to express their feeling. So the kids can, gradually build a healthy brain and they can think well and regulate stable emotions. Replace a negative word with positive statements. So there is some example. I think this is a great tips. And this is, it really help our kids to learn the good behavior. So negative word make children feel their parent impatient and cause them to feel frustrated. So using the positive statement to teach your kids what to do and enhance your relationship with each other. So that is important that we can practice. So negative statement is like, if you don't finish your food, you cannot play. So we can replace it with positive statements. Oh, after you eat, finish your eating, you can go play. So that's how the difference is the negative and positive. Okay, great. So we already finished the 18 months to 6 years. So that move on the positive parenting tips for age 3 to 6 years. The first tip that we can use sympathy, empathy, and reflection to develop your child emotion quotients. So accept rather than deny your children's feeling. Help the children understand emotion and feeling throughout naming. For example, when maybe their toy is like a balloon fly away. So we can tell them, oh, your brain is far away. You feel so sad. So it's good for the kids can understand or identify their internal emotions. So there is nothing wrong with the emotion itself, but the way you are expressed can be wrong. So teaching kids how to express emotion is very important. So give the children time and space to release their emotion. Praise to, cultivate self-confidence and encourage motivation. Point out specifically what your kids did well. And we encourage and praise your kids' effort in the process. When your child did not perform well, please don't blindly praise. So I think that is the most important, that we need to point out what the behavior they did. And then we can just get immediately encouragement. The next step is allow your child to freedom to explore and develop adaptability and resilience. So it gradually reduces distraction while ensure safety and allowing your child to explore freely. Put aside corrections and perfections. Enjoy the process with your child and encourage imagination and creativity. Of course, allow your child to experience failure and learn how to deal with setbacks. Okay, so that is some tip I want to share with you guys. So let's move on to common challenge of parenting. Okay, so the same thing, we are going to the 0 to 18 months old kids. So the baby keep crying. So I think this, in this stage, we just experience the baby keep crying. So crying is normal way to baby for communicate. So I think the parents trying to remain calm and effectivity soothes your baby. Observe the signal of your baby's brain to determine the cause of crying. For example, when you're feeling unwell, it's too cold or too hot. So you do need to change your diaper, or or you want to identify or find out it's because the baby is sleepy, hungry, or they are just, the teeth screw up, so they just feel on discomfort. So change in routine or, environment and caregiver. So, we need to find out the reason why. Or maybe, they have a separation anxiety because during the period of 5 months to 1 year old, that is the time for baby starting feeling anxiety about separation anxiety. So if the baby need to have be taken care of, but he continued to cry for unknown reasons, so maybe you can try. There's a separate tip that for you to be able to practice with kids. You can wrap your baby in the blankets, especially for newborn. I know they feel secure. Or create white noises, such as the sound of an electric fan. Okay, and provide a pacifier for baby stuck in. So look at the baby, talk to him or her in a calm and gentle tone. Sing to them, hold them, or gently rock or pat the back. Some people will, walk around with your baby in your arm and take your baby in the stroller for a walk. So there is some tips that you can help you to calm your baby when they are crying. Okay. For the 18 months to 3 years or so. So in this stage, like I said earlier, they try to learn autonomy. So there is a strong will toddler. So toddler open is to doing things in their way, and over lose their temper when things don't go their way. So what we can do, so as a parent or caregiver, so we can understand or accept the toddler are in the autonomous stage or in development. So inform your child in advance about specific behavior expectation and teach your child what to do. So that's around some example I want to share everyone. So that's another tip saying to emphasize with child emotion and motivation. For example, the first we need to show our empathy. So we can tell them, oh, I know you really want to eat that cookie. Wow, it looks yummy and delicious. Then, as the caregiver, we can explain the reason. Oh, you know what? But you can eat meal now because we will have the lunchtime pretty soon. So finally, what we can do, we can provide the child with the solution. After you finish eating lunch, you can eat that cookie. So it's very clear, and we already emphasize children's emotion, and also we give them the solution. Okay, the next one, allow your child to have some autonomy. So we can provide a limited range of option and are acceptable to you and allow your children to choose. For example, first, inform in advance. You need to prepare to take a bath after dinner. And we can show the empathy that way. I know you still want to play, huh? But you can give them the option, the two choices. Would you like to take your penguin or water come to the bath today? So that is some example you guys can remember, remind, and practice. So when a child behaves inappropriately after stopping it, you should try to find out the reason for your child behavior and guide the children on what he can do instead and encourage them to affirm the child's good behavior. So for example, after stopping the child from throwing the ball from the ball height at the people, so you can empathize with the child's desire to try throwing things and take a child to, oh, you can pick up the ball and throw them into the basket. And then you can encourage and praise him. Oh, you throw the dart ball into the basket. So we can help them to repress the negative behavior and to positive behavior. Okay. So without compromising safety, then children experience a natural consequence to their decision and behavior. So that is the example, there has the one kid, they want to wear something, thick clothes on the hot day. So if you just evaluate that is safety, it's no harm for the kids, then they try and they will just learn from the consequence. So after the child experience being so hot and uncomfortable, he will understand that, his parents' suggestions are for good reason, and they might be better than their own choice. So at this stage, children want to be proactive, but lack ability to manage their feeling and have difficulty controlling themselves, making them prone to losing their temper. So children need to help learn how to manage their emotion. So when your child loses their temper, then the children vent the emotion in the less stimulation environment and then discuss it with them, the children, after he has calmed down. So if you are so angry, sometimes I know as a caregiver and parent, we get stressed, we get overwhelming. Remember, maybe you can let another partner take care of it at the moment and you have come quiet time. So when you become, you can go back to take care of your kids. So that's the example I want to show everyone. So inform specific behavior expectation in advance. Like this, after you finish eating lunch, you can eat the cookies. So the situation, the child lost their temper because she wants to eat the cookie before finish her meal. If you're at home, I think you can give your child some time and space for them to release their emotion. So they want to crying, they want to get frustration, at home you can do that. But if you are outside in the public, maybe you can take your child to a space with a few people and accompany your child and, and support her when she vent out her emotions. So after your child calms down, use the neutral word and describe the event, emotion, and solution. So we can say that at the example I want to show everyone. You didn't finish your lunch yet, and you want to eat the cookie, but you weren't allowed. So you get angry and crying. I know you want to eat it so much, so you were disappointed. You can come with me how many spoonful of your lunch are left. And after you finish eating your lunch, you can have your cookie. So that is something that, some word, it's not like a neutral word. You can describe the event. Okay, let's move on to 3 to 6 years old. So that is some challenge, is some issue or problem getting along with other children. So in this stage, kids are going to school, they probably have more interact with other kids. So emphasize with your, child emotion first, and then providing guideline after she or he has calmed down. So empathy, doesn't mean blind support. So we need to acknowledge your child's feeling. For example, it's really sad when you have the fight with a good friend. Let me give you a hug. So that is something we can do to support our kids. Use the neutral tone and gather information from your child and others get involved. You can also observe your kids' behavior, their interaction with other kids. Okay, that's another problem we probably will encounter. If your child over have interpersonal problem, try to address the source. The first one might having a dominant personality, and it's due to other people. So what we can do, we can teach appropriate physical behavior to reduce aggressive behavior. When your kid is too shy, and easy to ignore or bullied, we can do the rehearsal role play. We can practice with your children how to express their feeling, their need, and how to refuse and ask for help when being bullied. So the next one is you have the poor cognitive or verbal skill. If your kids, still in not develop some skill, I think really encouraging them to play with the younger kids first. Okay, I think that's a good example. How to help our kids overcome a fear of shots. So I think a lot of parents or caregivers need to bring their kid to see a doctor for doctor visit and get the vaccination. So I think the first of all, it's good to be honest and give option to help cope with their feeling. Telling your children the reason, the benefit of the vaccination, and truly explain your children, what it, like. Sometimes, don't lie them and tell them, oh, it's not hurt at all. No, we can tell them the really true, right? It feel like a pinchy, it hurt a little bit, but you can feel better. It's not hurt so long. So encourage your child to use coping strategy. You can hold my hand, you can have something to hold it and help them to regulate your emotions. Okay. Empathize with your children's feeling of fear and worry. Don't scold your child for crying because they feel scared. Yeah, of course. So when your child successfully complete the injection, acknowledge their courage. Children will be more brave, when overcome the difficulty because their parent cleared guidelines and empathy, from the successful experience. Great. So let's move on self-care for parents. I think a self-care for parents is most important. I know as we, take care of our kids, I always encourage everyone, please take care of your own self, your personal health and mental health. So parents' emotion and stress affect our children. Stress negatively affect parent ability to take care of children and with their children. So in order to meet the need of children, parents must first take care of themselves. So how to take care of our mental health. So self-care is spending time doing things that help improve our physical and mental health. So self-care can help manage our stress, reduce our risk of illness, and increase your energy. So there's several activities you can do. Regular exercise, eating regular and healthy food, stay hydrated, and eating enough sleep. Getting enough sleep are all beneficial for mental health stress management. So when you feel overwhelming, so ask for help, the people around you. So there's another thing that you can do. Trying to do some relaxation activity, breath exercise, muscle relaxation, and you can have some regular time for some activity you like to enjoy. Some people like listen to the music, reading, just have some me time, sometimes I think as a mom or the caregiver, we have some our own time to restore and, recharge and stay connected with a family member. Try to get the support, if you need to. That's very important. And utilize the resource. We have some, church or community center and library have a lot of resource and can support you. Seek professional help. If you just notice your negative emotions are really affecting you, and you probably cannot handle your daily activity. And I really encourage you, talk to your mental health professional. Don't wait until your symptoms get worse.